the other day, and for the 10 minutes it took me to drive from my apartment to get inside the science building, it rained perfectly for that window, which was just kind of depressing because I actually woke up at 3 a.m. because we had a lab and then we had an exam. And now we have action to talk about. So as you can see, the Protoss has gone with hallucination. It's a very tricky ability and you never get ladder. So my battle cruisers are automatically attacking the hallucination tower. They need to knock out this Colossus and that'll stop all the all the damage. So we handle that and we're good. And I think that kind of prompts me to go do stuff with my units. Because the worst thing you can do in a ladder game, specifically, is have a unit and do nothing with it. Because if you build, like, let's say, 10 Zerglings early on in the match, those 10 Zerglings are going to sit there, and by the time you would actually need them, if there was a 10-minute break, and you found that out by scouting, you could have made so many more drones, and then later on gone ahead and made the extra Zerglings that you need. So always, especially in brutal missions, be more active with your units, and for ladder too. And if you notice, a lot of people like to split their units into multiple control groups. And when I say a lot of people, actually a lot of higher up advanced players. Also notice that I've turned off healing on my science vessels, and I'm using a few SCVs to go ahead and fill in the gap. And notice that does really hinder my resource collection rate. It's almost at a standstill still. It's actually negative. So I dropped down a bunch of meals to go ahead and momentarily stimulate that while I'm picking my battle cruisers back up into fighting shape. Ooh, fun. But anyways, back to the weather. Yeah, it was a bummer. You know, you wake up at 3 a.m. to do a lab, or finish up a lab because I procrastinated. Because I played this fun game, Starcraft, too. I don't know if you've heard about it. Yeah, it was a bummer, and then it, rained for the perfect duration. I was exposed to the elements, and, yeah, it was no bueno. I wasn't a fan of it. But, anyways, back to the game. It looks like we have stuff to talk about. I supply blocked myself, and like a bad player, or not a bad player, but like a non-pro player, I got fed up with, like, always having to keep track of your supply depots, so I just bought a bunch of them right away. However, if I managed that better, I wouldn't get into that situation. But anyways, I'm not perfect, but I have freed more Dark Templar, which make me kind of perfect. And that has allowed me to get some units that I can now move about stealthily and not have to worry about the radioactive envelope of doom. Radioactive envelope of Riod. Anagram doesn't work out. Apparently it doesn't want to, or acronyms don't work out. Doesn't want to be an acronym. But with these units, I can now collect these little mineral things, which is just like free money basically. And I can do that without having to worry about being seen too much. On the second half of the map, the Protoss is pretty good with detection, but more importantly, without having to worry about the nuclear envelope of sadness and destruction. And here I am again getting supply blocked, but more importantly, my upgrades have slowed down. I'm at 2.2, and they really need to be up to 3.3, because it's the only unit I'm making, or the only units I'm making are air units, so there's no reason not to get upgrades to support that and just get the most out of that unit you can. But anyways, we will continue on. I'm getting a medic for my bunker, which is important. Apparently my old bunker got eliminated, and I called in war pigs. So yeah, it's kind of a slow game. You have to have a lot of patience if you want to do this mission and just dominate it. You're kind of taking the mentality route of, instead of trying to rush the mission and maybe having to do it an extra time or two because I'm impatient, I'm just going to spend a little extra, maybe an extra 20% duration on the mission, and I'm going to get it right, and I'm going to just roll it. Actually, if you do this mission this way, you pretty much have all the flexibility in the world to get all 3 achievements on the first way through in Brutal without any real problem, because I think the achievements are, you can't use it or lose a unit in the void, and if you micro well with your or you don't even have to micro well, if you just pay attention with your air units, you can definitely micro them out. If you get the upgrade for, or no, you can't, because it's a mission where you get the upgrade for the battle cruiser. I was gonna suggest you could get the defense matrix, and just any battle cruiser that's about to die, pop the shield and run them out. But with just a little bit of care, you can go ahead and eliminate the risk of using losing a unit in the field. You need to destroy all the radio towers on hard or better, or hard or more difficult, which is a breeze with fleet. That's going to be the easiest one. And for some reason, I think the third achievement is getting it done in a specific unit of time. I take it back. That one's going to be a little hard to do if you do it this way, because this way is based off the theory, or off the strategy of taking your time and not making a mistake. But here I am launching a few of my a single Yamato cannon, knocking out the shield and backing up. So I'm going to let that energy and health recharge, and I've pissed off the Protoss. They've launched out in Mothership, which is never fun to fight. The most annoying thing about the Mothership is when it gets weak, it'll run away, and it'll run away in such a manner that you would have to go through the black hole to chase it. So pretty much the best strategy to knock out the Mothership is when you see it, just click all your battle cruisers and go Y-click, 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 and just annihilate it with Yamato cannons. Just a barrage of epic proportions. And that's pretty much how you do it. That will shut the Mothership down completely. Additionally, things you might want a Yamato cannon. A carrier, they'll take 2. The first shot will knock out the shields completely, and it'll leave it at about half health. However, Void Rays are not a bad target for your Yamato cannon. I'm almost positive it's a one and done situation for there. So the Void Rays are indeed one pump chump. So yeah, that's about it. One thing I should mention, you don't need to send your fleet in to go ahead and knock out an ancillary radio tower like this, because all of them are going to take damage over time. So really you only need to send in like 3 battle cruisers and 1 or 2 science vessels, even though you probably don't need to do that. Because see how all those took unnecessary damage for a task that even 1 battle cruiser probably could have done. And here's the trick I was telling you earlier about the meals. You can just drop them and they're basically done. In fact, one thing I could have done was turn off the auto healing of my science vessels and fly my fleet over the meals, with meals having auto repair on autocast, or repair on autocast for that matter. How am I doing on upgrades? Anytime you're at a pause, you should probably just go ahead and get upgrades done, or at least try and think about that. Whenever you're at a pause in a ladder game, you want to go, how are my upgrades doing, how's my food doing, and look at the minimap. I always want to get into that habit, because the minimap is such an awesome tool to use. If you have a good scout in the ladder game, just looking at the minimap could give you a ton of forward notice on any attack that might be coming towards you. So here I'm using mules pretty aggressively, although it looks like that mule got pinned back and will suffer a painful punishment. Also, one thing about the Dark Templars, if you are fairly conservative with them, and you don't lose too many, you can actually knock out 1 of the back radio towers, and sometimes even 2 of the radio towers. Oh, can my mule make it? Oh, no, it cannot. It's a fail mule. However, this one is going to take up, when it gets that gas, before a massive amount of interceptors is coming. But anyways, if you're careful with your Dark Templar, you can use them to take out 1 or 2 radio towers, which is just fantastic. And if you know Protoss, they're using those hallucinations more than they should, and it's not working out for them, because apparently I have auto detection, which is, I use science vessels, and they are detectors. Okay, so pretty sweet. So with this many battle cruisers, I let them auto detect the interceptors because it's just easier. You can knock out so many so quickly. And I'm also leaving 2 battle cruisers around my main just as extra defense, just in case. Why not, So here, I have my battle cruisers and my science vessels separated into 2 control groups, because if you have them in one, you won't be able to use the Yamato cannon, because the ability tab of the science vessel will take priority, as you can see here, over the unit combination, and that's no bueno when you need to use the Yamato cannon. But one trick you could do is, if you have them all grouped up into 1 control group, if you insist on doing that, you can actually use a tab button to go through each specific unit and find out. And my computer crashed, but I think I was talking about how if you have multiple unit types in 1 control group, you can hit the tab button and it'll cycle through each unit type. So you can go ahead and make the Yamato cannon science vessel combination in 1 control group moderately effective just by using tab. However, it's a lot quicker, or at least it'll be quicker later down the game when you need 3 or 4 control groups of different casting units, to where you can just like the 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1 to use that ability. I hope you know what I mean, or what I'm talking about. I feel like I'm just rambling on here. But here we are. We are 21 minutes into the game. So that means we are 2/3 of the way done with this task. As you can see, I'm using my Dark Templars, and they're running into cannons, or a photon cannon detector, which isn't good. That actually hurts them quite a bit. And it looks like the shield on my Dark Templar is nearly down. And oh, they have detection there. Who knew? But like I said before, once a Protoss unit loses shields in that field, they will not be able to recharge their shields and slowly take damage over time, which is effective. Well, I'm nearly positive their shields won't charge. I do know they take damage once the shields are down. But here I am coming up into a fight. My battlecruiser takes some damage, I micro him to the back, and I am doing an awful job at giving you a good view of what the battle's going on. There we go. There we go. So ideally the computer should go, hey, I'm out of interceptors, maybe I should take my carriers back. Or even more interestingly, hey, why don't I give all my units up into one ball and attack as a real attack? But no, they're just fine with harassing, which is probably why it's not too successful. But anyways, like I've said before, at this point you have so many Yamato cannons, you can just blow up whatever you want. I should definitely be on the offensive at this point. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of Dark Templar harassing, and then once these run out, I'm going to go in for the kill. Knock out High Templars whenever you can, because they are quite annoying. That Psy Storm is very effective for damage, and I think I'm hiding in this little hole to let my shields catch up. But let's see here. One thing is when you have an invisible unit or you're attacking a unit that can't attack you back. Oh, look how unprofessional was that. My phone went off. So hopefully that won't come again. But when you attack a unit that can't fight back,